anything. We are here with Julie and Rita Hogan. I've known Rita Hogan for a while now. Hey, and Rita is a canine herbalist. So Rita works one-on-one with dogs and their owners and has for over 20 years. Her holistic herbal practice combines nutritional therapy, herbs, and environmental analysis to address your dog's individual needs. And I know this because she has done this for me and my dogs, and it's amazing. So Rita writes for Dogs Naturally magazine. She also speaks on canine herbalism and teaches classes to promote holistic canine herbalism. She's also a cannabis educator and works with dogs of all kinds.
Yay!
Yay! Welcome. Okay, I'm going to hand it over to you, Julie, and I'll let you know when we have a few questions piled up. If you guys just want to chat for a bit, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much, Kaylin. So you guys, we were all just being super silly, and for all you girls out there, we were just being really super girly and laughing our guts out. Just so awesome. I feel like laughing, when we laugh that hard, I feel like it's like medicine.
Yeah, I was screaming.
I feel like pardon?
I was screaming.
Yeah, like it's such
so hard. I was screaming.
And I really do. I feel like it's sort of we were talking about energy medicine.
Oh yeah.
My mom used to always say laughter is the best medicine. It's an old thing, but it's so true. It's just so awesome. So I'm excited to have you on because I was saying that even though I absolutely love herbs, not that I'm scared to use them. I kind of just go, I respect them so much, like I have such a high regard and high respect for herbs. My mom did a lot of herbalism, and I kind of went the homeopathy route. So
you use a lot of herbs in homeopathy though.
Oh my God, tons.
That's fun. So you use herbs, just a different dosage. I love it.
Yeah, I definitely, and that in school, materia medica, that used to be like the doctrine of signatures, when we would really learn about the actual crude substance that goes in the medicine. That was my favorite part, is just getting a really, really strong sense of the emotional element of the herbs and where they're living and how they react, and well, not just herbs, but rocks and all kinds of stuff, right?
Well, and I think that it's great to connect. Like you connect with you got homeopathy and you have herbalism, and homeopathy allows access to so many plants and poisonous plants that you cannot use the way that I use them. So, in order to have access to something like belladonna, you have to use it homeopathically. So, I mean, I think it's a win-win.
It is. It's pretty cool. But I still love plant medicine, like real plant medicine. I think, and the older I get, the more I'm actually drawn to it. So I'm excited to hear you answer questions. And normally what we do, I think people are putting questions in the question and answer, and then also in the chat. But how long have you been doing, like what made you decide to do dogs? That was one of the questions I always wanted to ask.
Well, I grew up on a farm. So my dad taught me herbalism, even though he wasn't an herbalist, and I guess we weren't thinking about herbalism at the time. He would just say, go in the field and get me the little purple flower that's about this tall over in the right-hand side, pick a bunch of them and bring them here, And then he would show me, used a lot of herbs with the pigs and chickens and cows. So, and then not too much our dogs, he didn't know much about dogs. He just knew about horses, chickens, pigs, and cows. We didn't have any sheep. That's pretty much it. And then I studied Ayurveda when I was in my 20s, and I like it, but it just didn't, I kind of went back to my roots. So when I was 29, I started teaching myself herbalism again, and I moved to a farm in Tennessee where I started boarding dogs in a kennel-free environment, and they were all sick. Like all of them were sick, and it was just so sad. And I started studying nutrition, and then I opened a holistic pug dog rescue. Yeah, where we didn't vaccinate and things like that. And I worked with my herbal remedies, drop dosing, which is just small amounts for chronic disease.
What is
Drop
that? What's
dosing,
drop dose?
it's using like between 1 and 10 drops, depending on the dog. But let's just take a pug. Like I probably wouldn't use more than 5 drops ever, unless it was something acute. I used herbalism on all of those dogs under the supervision of this lovely vet named Kevin Bromwich. And I kind of taught him a little, and he taught me a lot, not about herbs, but about pugs and dog surgery and why I could never be a vet. Definitely. Like, no. Yeah, it was super fun. But, and that's when I started making those salves, which for that pug dog rescue. And then I started using herbs on my clients and getting those people to stop vaccinating, so much, and working with that and working with nutrition. And then I did apprenticeships. This lovely little guy, he's now deceased. His name was Ralphton Overstreet. He was like, again, he wouldn't call himself an herbalist, but he knew every single plant in that forest and how to use it on animals on the farm. And I just took a lot of that and started using it with dogs. And then I read Matthew Wood's book, 7 Plants, 7 Teachers.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't know about Matthew because I was on that hill, and the internet had just come out, and it was in the 90s and late 90s, early 2000. And I read Matthew Wood's book, and it was about drop dose. It had drop dosing in it. And it really just kind of verified what I was doing. And then everything that he wrote, I just started gobbling up. And then I worked with some, like when I moved here, I joined I think it was the Dandelion School of Medicine. Sean Croak is the teacher there, to learn the plants in the Pacific Northwest. And it's been about 20 years.
Well, when you were talking about that man, the probably one of the most brilliant herbalists I've ever met in my whole life. Her name was Virginia, and she lived in Ontario, and she was our herbal kits or degrees or anything like that. But her great grandmother, she still had tinctures that it was almost homeopathic because they were diluting them, but tinctures from, or maybe not diluting them, but adding alcohol, I think.
To preserving.
Because they were so old. Like she had stuff from, oh my gosh, I don't even know how.
And they don't go bad. They really don't go bad.
And she was, no, and she was just the most brilliant person that, like, not just brilliant about herbs, teach that wiseness. She was just amazing. And she was the one that, when my dog Broody got cancer, this is what started me on my whole journey, and because I was in conventional vet medicine at that point, and I was so devastated because he was 4 years old, and I went to my mom and I was like, what do I do? And she said, call Virginia. You know what to do, call Virginia, because she couldn't stand all this conventional stuff that I was trying to get her to do. And make a very long story short, the tumor was an intestinal tumor, and it was really large, and they had to they were going to have to resect his bowel, part of the bowel. And I took him to like an internal medicine specialist in Ontario, and for surgery and stuff. And they're like, okay, they couldn't see him for almost 2 weeks, and they said he'd probably be hospitalized for 5 days. So she was making literally suppositories. We were doing like anal suppositories, rectal suppositories. She had him on so many herbs, like he was running away from me, what we were doing. But the same thing, get him off that dog food, blah, 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 blah. Everything my mom and my grandma were telling me to do. And by the time I took him back, he didn't even have to stay. He stayed overnight, and that was it. It had shrunk so much. It was still the size of a small walnut, but it was encapsulated, and they didn't have to resect anything from all the herbs. Wow. And he was the nicest man, and he said to me, I don't know what you're doing, and I don't know if I want to, but just keep doing it. This was a long time ago, right? This was like in the 80s.
Yeah, most people just don't want to know. It's so weird.
No. So I was just like so blown away, and that just started me on my whole journey. But that was all herbs, you know. It was just so incredible. She made the most amazing Essiac tea, and she was, yeah. I think she had a new Nurse Case.
I didn't hear you.
I think she actually knew Nurse Case from the Essiac.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was like a old timer. All right. So Kaylin, we should start answering questions.
We have, yeah, they just keep piling in. So
I'm going to shut up. I'm actually going to mute myself so I shut up, because I could keep asking you stuff all day long. So we'll do that another time. All right. I'm going to mute. So go for it, Kaylin.
Okay. So we have a bunch of questions here, Rita. The first one is from Carrie. Hi, Carrie. Thank you for your question. Are there any herbs to give after you remove a tick from a dog?
Externally, yes. So my favorite herb to give to a dog externally is neem. A really just pure cold pressed neem oil in the tick bite is excellent. Also, there's an herb called karanja that works really well for that. And then internally, olive leaf. But you got to be careful with olive leaf because it can make your dogs puke. And so what I like to use is the Now brand of olive leaf, which is only 12% oleoprene, which is the active ingredient in olive leaf, because it's never made any dogs puke. But you got to give it with food. And like a small dog, let's just say a Yorkie, under 10 pounds would probably be about 150 milligrams twice daily with food. Maybe 15 to 20 pounds, 25 pound dog would be about 250 to 300 milligrams. Medium dog, 500. A large dog between 500 and 800, and then a really big dog would be 1,000 milligrams twice daily. And one of the things that I found out on my farm, because we had tons of Ehrlichia ticks on our farm, every single dog that I had Ehrlichia, and that was my dog. I had 10 of them. They all had Ehrlichia, and I got rid of all of their Ehrlichia with olive leaf, and then also an olive gemmotherapy or phytoembryonic therapy, which is the plant buds of olive leaf. So I like to use the mixture of that, but just the regular olive leaf. If your dog has a tick, or if you are in tick country and your dogs are going to get ticks, I would keep them on the olive leaf as long as they don't get nauseated from it. If they do not just discontinue it, but I would put them on the olive leaf through tick season.
Oh, sorry. I muted myself and unmuted myself and muted myself. Perfect. I've heard some great things about olive leaf.
But it can make you and yours puke if you're not careful. Make sure you have it. Don't take it on an empty stomach ever. And more is not better. Like sometimes you'll see extra strength olive leaf. No, don't do that with your dog. If you're puking, it's a different story. Watching your dog, hack 10 times in a row isn't fun.
No, definitely not. Pauline has a question. So Pauline says, my dogs are raw fed, but I cannot always afford or find organic pasture raised meats for them. Yeah, hear ya. Are there things I can do to protect them from the crap, the glyphosates, antibiotics, etc., that their proteins are eating? So I think that are in the proteins they're eating.
I understand what you're saying. So, one comment is that I doubt that most people in general feed themselves all organic meat. So, people have all this huge guilt factor where, sometimes you're not going to be able to find organic meat, but just regular raw food is 1,000 times better than kibble. So just remember that. But I think that giving a good digestive enzyme is really important. Number 2, cleansing, doing a cleanse like quarterly, or like twice a year in the spring and then in the fall. Milk thistle, blessed thistle. I like milk thistle's pretty neutral. Blessed thistle can be used as well. I like mountain pine gemmotherapy, which is Julie Ann is a can be a homeopathic. It's a 1 to 200 dilution. Is really good at getting pharmaceuticals along with juniper gemmotherapy. And do you want me to give dosages? I'm not sure. Julianne, can I give dosages?
Oh, if you'd like to.
Okay, so the mountain pine and the juniper gemmotherapy. The juniper gemmotherapy is really good at getting pharmaceuticals out of the body, and any type of chemical. So you only want to give it for 8 weeks. Otherwise, it starts to push the kidney. And so you want to put it on a calendar, and then you can give it like once a week or once a month. But the dosages are very small. So with the gemmotherapy, which is when you see it on the bottle, it's going to say 1:200. Okay, if it says 1:10 or 1:20, then that's a mother tincture, and the dosage is really small. And you can always just email me through my website, canineherbalist.com, if you get confused. But we're just going to do it the gemmotherapy, which is the 1 to 200. It's a homeopathic dilution. The dosage for juniper for an extra small dog is about 5 drops. For a small dog is about 10 drops. And for a medium dog, about 15, large 20, extra large 25 to 30 drops twice daily for about 8 weeks. The mountain pine can be given in the same dosages for about 12 weeks. There's other things like for dogs that are more cool, black currant gemmotherapy is really good for that. Blackthorn gemmotherapy is good for that. Those are the main things I use to get chemicals out. And then, milk thistle is good. And then there's like globe artichoke. Julianne has an excellent liver cleanse. I think that's Greg Tilford's, right?
It's our formula, but he makes it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Greg makes it. Okay. I knew that Greg had something to do with it. And Greg's a great herbalist. So he's one of my elders, of course. And that's a really good liver cleanse that you use temporarily you could use that in the spring and the fall. But yeah, that's my answer to that question. And then also, wait, hold on 1 second. And then for dogs that are warm, you can give those greens like chlorella and wheatgrass and phytoplankton. Phytoplankton's pretty neutral, so you can give that for dogs that are warm and cool. And then for dogs that are more on the cool side, spirulina is a good green to help detox chemicals as well.
And what I was going to say too, like if you have your choice between I think if you're really looking, if you can just even find, even in superstores and in bigger stores, ethically raised. I think, if you do ethically raised rather than if you can't find organic or you can't find pasture raised, if you can look for ethically raised, that's even one step above the regular factory farmed ones. And then it has less cortisol in the meat, and it's another way to go if you can't get really good meat, which a lot of people can't. And especially right now, it's insane. Like the places around here don't have hardly anything organic, like the grocery stores, I mean. So
like non-GMO, if it's non-GMO certified, at least when it's being like corn finished, it's not not GMO corn, but ethically, yes, because they're not as stressed out.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, what? Oh, hi, Bev. This is from Bev. What can I do for environmental allergies? My girl is itching a lot.
My first go-to for environmental allergies is nettles. Nettle leaf is really good for environmental allergies, and also mixing that with quercetin. That would be my go-to. I mean, that would be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Okay. We have one here, and I know Julie's probably going to speak to this quite a bit too. But Allison has a question. Experimental studies have indicated larch, and I cannot say that big long, arabinogalactin they can stimulate natural killer or NK cell cytotoxicity, enhance other functional aspects of the immune system, and inhibit the metastase of tumor cells. Yes, thank you to the liver. I'm very excited about this, as 3 of your wonderful products in the Leaky Gut protocol contain this. And I've been using these wonderful products in rotation. Would the dosage then be adjusted for a dog with cancer versus one that took this for digestive health?
No.
So, okay.
No, it doesn't have to be. But does she have a dog with cancer? Is that what she's asking?
I'm not sure. Allison, if you want to pop in the
Just
pop
because
in the chat.
and she's going in rotation, she should make sure she puts the Phytophthora one in, because of the canine species probiotic in it.
Okay, she says no. Her dog doesn't, but she's asking for cancer dogs.
Yes, for
Yeah.
cancer dogs, make sure that they get that they rotate with the Phytophthora.
Okay.
I'm trying to read something.
Yeah, sorry. There's a bunch about our product questions, and I try to. Sorry, everybody. I try to kind of skip over them a little bit.
Yeah. Also, they can also ask them when I do my own one, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
There's
Joy, hi Joy. Joy says, I know this is not a simple answer, but I'm working on a protocol for rescues for overall well-being. Where is a good place to start?
Wow.
Go ahead, Pug Lady.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know who was asking. She's working on I wonder what type of protocol. So just a overall well-being. Yeah, that's a complicated answer because dogs are individuals. So, but if you're doing just like a general protocol, then you always want to just begin by supporting the kidney and the liver, in the digestive system. So a good digestive enzyme, a good probiotic. If the dogs are more warm, which a lot of rescue dogs are either very quite cold or quite hot. And when their stress levels come down, you kind of can see where their energetics kind of sit. But so I would do like milk thistle's pretty neutral. So start with like milk thistle. I'd probably do nettles to fortify and strengthen. And also nettles are really good for things that just kind of stop working. So I like nettle leaf for that. You can do freeze-dried nettles, or you can do a tincture of nettles. Burdock root is a good place to start as well, because it helps the body process fats and oils, and a lot of hormones, and the endocrine system is really dependent on fats and oils. And these dogs are really messed up hormonally. So I think that that would be a good thing. For dogs that are more on the cool side, there's I would say a 1 to 20 mixture. That's 1:20, or the homeopathic of a black currant bud is really, really strengthening to the immune system. I think that's a good place to start. And then, fortifying with greens. If a dog is really warm, get them on some good greens, and start strengthening the body. And of course, a little jar of anti-vaccinosis would go a long way, because, some of those rescue dogs are vaccinated 2 and 3 times by the time they get to an owner, just because it's the weirdest thing. Like, we didn't vaccinate. And I knew that, I gave like a class on health and vaccination before they were adopted out, and holistic food was required, but I knew they were going to go to their vet and get vaccinated right after I adopted them. So there was no point in me vaccinating. Plus I didn't believe in it at the time.
And especially the ones that are coming from other countries and stuff. Holy, it's terrible how much it's needed. like in my clinic, I would see a lot of them that were coming from Mexico and China and all over. And you would see pictures of them when they were, oh, I'm getting this puppy, or I'm getting this dog, or this is the one I'm getting. And they look half decent. Then they come over, and 3 months later, they have no fur, or they're full of Demodex, or they're, because they've been vaccinated at the yin yang, they're stressed to the max. So I would also say, like, the anti-vaccinosis for sure really is helpful, like as routine, like when they first come in, but also homeopathic aconite. It can make, it's for shock and stress, and and the two, they're often grieving too, right? Like,
yeah, Rescue Remedy might be a good addition to the aconite as well. I mean, we did it right across the board for, like, I'd say 90 days for each dog. Just Rescue Remedy, and whatever Julie said, aconite, and of course the anti-vaccinosis.
Yeah, and just like you said, try to get them on some really good food, and slowly incorporate things. Don't just overwhelm their little bodies, because they're already pretty overwhelmed.
Yeah, try not to kitchen sink.
Yeah, poor guys, terrible what we do to them. But I mean, hopefully they all get to be. I know. Well, we'll just go on a tangent about vaccines.
Next question.
we're all rescue people here. There can be a lot of tangents.
She's gonna mute herself anytime soon. She's gonna mute herself.
Yeah.
I have a question here from Leith. Hi, Leith. As we lean into the warmer months, what are Rita's favorite herbs to work with for clearing heat from the body?
Okay, so the warmer months, definitely working on the large intestine and the heart. And so, I'm only going to do a couple because I know we got a lot of questions, but hawthornberry is a very good remedy for the summer months to support the heart. And then for dogs that are really, really warm, one of my favorite remedies to clear heat from the body is peach leaf and twig, but sometimes it's just peach leaf. I make peach leaf and twig. I macerate the bark, but peach leaf is excellent for clearing, like, really kind of severe heat from the body. And another thing is cucumber water and watermelon seed water. So I like to use organic. You have to use organic cucumber. You don't necessarily have to use organic watermelon, but you have to use organic cucumber because the energetics of the regular cucumber is completely different than the organic cucumber. But you slice it, you let the water sit in the cucumber water, strain it, and give it to your dog. And most dogs that suffer from heat will drink it right up. It's a refrigerant, so you can go from, like, a dog completely panting to a dog not panting within 15 minutes of drinking it. And then if you don't have cucumbers, you can use watermelon seeds. So you can eat the watermelon and then take the seeds, let them soak overnight for about 12 hours and in the water, and just drain the water and give it to your dog.
Oh, we seem to have lost you there, Rita. You're all frozen.
Am I frozen?
No, you're all good. It's just Rita.
Rita.
Not sure what happened there. I'm sure she'll figure it out in a minute and come back.
Oh, yeah. You know what? In the meantime, till she does, what I was going to say too about the person that was asking about glyphosates and stuff, a really good dirt for glyphosates is humic and fulvic acid. So it works like a detox, like a chelation therapy. So I bet she's probably just logged off and I'll log back on.
Yeah.
Do you want to ask me? Anyways, I wanted to talk about that too, and also for Rita already said about probiotics. So definitely gut health, because gut health is the gut brain axis. And
Hi.
There she is. Hi.
I don't know what happened. It just kicked me off.
Maybe froze up and then disappeared.
You got too cool.
I don't know what the last time you heard.
You froze.
Wait, cucumber water. The cucumber water.
Oh, cucumber water and then watermelon seed water.
You were right in the middle of saying about the watermelon seed.
Yeah,
water.
you just take watermelon seeds and you soak them overnight and use that water as well. So hawthorn berry, peach leaf and twig, cucumber water, and watermelon seed. And then another one of my favorites for summer is marshmallow root. It helps cool the body. So love marshmallow root, and it helps coat the large intestine and bring down inflammation. And another one is plantain. I love plantain for summer. The intestine gets really inflamed and flares up in summer. And then yellow dock root in really small little tincture amounts, like 1 to 3 drops, no matter how big the dog is really good for when dogs get really nasty skin during the summer.
How about like animals that are really sensitive to flea bites? You know, like some dogs or cats can get flea bite dermatitis and things like that. Anything that helps with bites or like black flies or anything like that?
My Restore salve from Farm Dog Naturals works great on all bites. However,
which one?
Restore. It's called Restore.
Restore.
Yeah, it stops itching, and it's for flea dermatitis because my dog Seamus had flea dermatitis, and he just passed away, so he was 17. And I made that salve for him about 17 years ago. So, but there's a Gemmotherapy called Cedars of Lebanon.
Cedars of Lebanon.
Cedars of Lebanon and or Lebanon. Cedars of Lebanon that works really well when you've got that itchy, horrible, just like raw, just scratched up skin. You can take it. What I like to do is I take that. I usually use the mother tincture, so the 1 to 20, and Herbal Gem in Canada has the mother tincture, and then in the United States, PSE. I carry them in my shop. I can't remember who makes them. PSE. Hold on, I'm going to get the name.
What did she say? What was that? Cedar.
PSC. PSC is the you can get the mother tinctures from PSC. These are from Italy, but they're the distributor in America makes the mother tincture. But you can also use the Gemmotherapy, the 1 to 200. But you take Cedars of Lebanon, and you take of the mother tincture, you take about 10 drops, and of the Gemmotherapy, I take about probably 30 drops in an 8-ounce bottle of spring water. Mix that with crab apple flower essence and spray. Works phenomenal.
Wow. Awesome.
For the flea dermatitis.
That's good, because that's nasty.
Yeah, it's nasty.
We have, sorry, there's a question here, and Loca's on my lap being a little brat, and I just scrolled right past it. But somebody asked about what you would do for ear infections.
Okay. So as Julianne can probably account, the ear is the last to go in healing. It is a pain in the rump, and it just depends on what's in the ear. Okay, so we've got bacterial ear infections, and then we've got yeast ear infections, and then we've got just regular old icky ear that you need to manage. So the ear opens up to the kidney. Okay, so I would definitely support the kidney with any ear infection. And then if it's yeast, you can use pau d'arco, you can use mullein, you can use garlic. I'm not talking about any essential oils, just to be clear on that. But you can use different things. You can use echinacea, the actual flower, not the root. The flower and the leaf work really well in the ear. there's a remedy that I make through Farm Dog called Harmony, which is for yeasty ears. That works really well in the ears if it's true yeast. And that bacteria, you can use like Karanja oil or neem oil. There's a product on the market that I have found works pretty well for like just maintaining the ear while you work on the inside, because the ear really is inside health. Most of them are not an external problem. But there's a remedy called Eco Ears that works really well. I don't know, Julianne, if you have anything for ears.
Well, for me, I always feel like it's gut related.
Yes.
Right.
The inside.
Yeah. But then what happens is that the ear canal gets swollen from the overall systemic inflammation, and then there's no air going down. So then it's a perfect breeding ground for different kinds of bacterias and yeasts and all that stuff. So for me, what I would do is like from a product point of view is we in Canada, we still don't have it in the US, but we will be soon. It's called Your Go-To, and it's just aconite and arnica. And why it helps so much, or even you know what really helps is impact, because the thuya is really good for yeast. Thuya is amazing for yeast, and silica helps to push out the debris, right, to just get the ear cleared. But arnica is really good into arnica just to get inflammation down so that the air can start to circulate in the ear. But I agree. It's definitely internal. And sometimes from a managing point of view, we used to use at our clinic is something called Zymox. But be careful, because what happens is they'll use them with cortisone, because there's you can buy cortisone and non-cortisone, and then they have all like the cleaners, and I don't like to get it so gucky. Like I like to try to let it dry out and not put so much liquid down their ear, because if it's swollen, you squish it down, but then you can't get it back up. So I just use their enzyme. And it's like an enzyme that helps to break down the debris. I don't ever use their cleaners. I don't use anything like that. I just use their Zymox enzyme. And don't do it if you're not going to work on the inside. Like, just totally right. You got to work inside our ears for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, Cal.
Okay, so Jennifer asks, if you were going to start a small herb garden for your pups, what would you consider mandatory, Rita?
Calendula, super important. I love self-heal. Well, I grow marshmallow root. Milk thistle, echinacea is really, really important. I love echinacea. I love growing echinacea. It's beautiful. I grow St. John's wort, which is another really nice one to make some healing oils from. Calendula is a definite. Let's see, what else? Well, you know, if you can grow dandelions. I like to grow wild, like I like to use like little vine supports, and I like to grow chickweed and cleavers and different things that I find wild. So that would be a good start. But calendula is absolutely the number one that I would grow, and it's easy to grow. And then greens for your dog. You can grow those in your garden. There's lots of roots. You know, you can grow burdock root really well, which is also really good.
When you say greens, so that's what I was wondering. Can you make little gardens that they can go out and just forage on their own?
Yeah, absolutely. My dogs eat a lot of my front yard. I just plant it for them and they eat it. So they do a lot of self-foraging in my front yard. And then my garden's on my side yard that I don't want them in. But self-heal and calendula and echinacea are my top three.
And can they self-forage on those ones?
If they want. They're not going to self-forage on the calendula. It's too resiny. But they might eat the self-heal for sure.
Okay. And
Okay.
what would you plant for them?
Bee balm's really good too.
Is bee balm and bergamot
bergamot,
the
yes.
same?
Monarda fistulosa.
Okay.
That's the Latin name for both of those, but yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. That was some great suggestions. I was writing.
Peppermint, chamomile and peppermint. Sorry, I forgot about those kids. Those are really good too. Chamomile should be in everyone's garden.
Everything, yeah.
Okay.
Topically, internally, everything, eh?
Yeah. Chamomile is wonderful.
It is. You know, my grandma used to say about chamomile. She said that she used to plant chamomile with other plants, and she said that she did that because her grandmother told her that the chamomile plant soothes other plants.
Yeah, I've heard that before. And yarrow is another one of those things. Yarrow's like the herbal warrior, and it's actually a communicate. Like a lot of herbalists, and I believe this too, that yarrow helps other plants communicate with each other.
Yeah.
So chamomile would be a great soother. It's like the grandmother of plants.
Plants, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Really cool.
Yeah, yarrow would be another plant that I would definitely plant.
Sorry, I was busy writing.
I've got yarrow in my garden. But yeah, yarrow is wonderful. And one thing to do with summer, a lot of people don't know this, and of course you can't market it because you got to get in America, you got to get all the FDA blah, 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 blah. But yarrow oil is an excellent sunscreen. I mean, really, really great. So yeah, I would plant yarrow and make an infused oil with it, and you can use it as a sunscreen on your dogs and yourself.
Oh, wow. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Susan asks, oh, sorry, Judy.
No, go ahead, Kelly.
Susan asks, can pups have aloe? Any suggestion for pups who get overheated? Vet says he has liver heat and Shen disturbance.
I would not give aloe. You can use aloe on your dog, but I wouldn't give it internally. Yucca, you can do yucca, but I wouldn't use aloe. But again, I would use, if your dog has a heat in its liver, I would definitely use probably the peach leaf and twig. The peach leaf is a really good one, and it's safe. So.
I was just going to say that we have aloe in our gut soothe, but it is a specific, really specific fractionized part of the plant. Because if there's part of the aloe plant that can be really toxic if it's.
Well, I was just thinking about like liquid aloe. I'm like, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
use an aloe vera plant in your dog. Yeah, I know the one product that you have. I wouldn't worry about that. But like if you sell natural, you can get aloe. They're gonna go grab a plant and start.
Oh, my God,
no. Food.
No.
Yeah,
no, that's
don't do that.
Mm-mm.
Okay, Carrie asks, is there another name for self-heal because Herb Farm doesn't recognize it?
I would use its Latin name. One moment, please. That is, hold on. Self-heal Latin name is, Prunella vulgaris. Yeah, Prunella vulgaris. So type in Prunella vulgaris. I don't know if Herb Farm has it. I have it in my store, canineherbalist.com, but I don't know if Herb Farm is a little short on some things because of COVID. But I would type in the Latin name, Prunella vulgaris.
Okay, perfect.
The Latin name's really important when you're looking for herbs and stuff. And violet's very soothing if it's especially for a female dog. Is very cooling to the body. Chickweed really cools well. Cleavers cools well. And any dog that is really warm, Cleavers is my number one go-to for warm dogs in very small amounts. Like you'd use a tincture, and for a large dog, you probably do 5 drops twice daily, and then medium 4, small 3 or 2, and then small 1, because that really helps cool the body down, and it helps get that lymphatics start to go. And then the lymphatics and the circulatory system is the body's coolant. So if your fluids aren't circulating and your body has stagnation, your dog can't cool itself down.
Yeah.
So a lymphatic is really important. So for warm dogs, cleavers, for cool dogs, calendula. Those two are really like low on the lymphatic pole. They're a good place to start.
Okay, Kale.
Okay. I'm not sure if I'm saying her name right. Bisan. I've been giving my doggo slippery elm bark prepared with broth to help coat her throat after she has a coughing episode. She's a senior Chihuahua with collapsing trachea. Any info or opinions on slippery elm bark for this?
Well, one thing you need to understand is that slippery elm bark stays in the body for about 36 hours. So you do not need to dose that herb every single day. And if the slippery elm works for your dog with collapsing trachea, great, then go ahead and use it. But another one I like for collapsing trachea is fig Gemmotherapy. I like for collapsing trachea, and marshmallow root. I like to use the liquid marshmallow mixed with the dried herb marshmallow, the powder. I like to do you could do it like the liquid before eating, but what I like to do is I like to use the marshmallow as a part of a protocol if there's collapsing trachea or a lot of dryness or inflammation in the gut. I like to use the liquid right before they eat, and then I like to use the dried marshmallow right before they go to bed, and so that it's sitting in a pill in the intestinal tract at night without anything competing for it. And I find that works really well.
And also don't forget that the trachea is it's like a cartilage, right? So bone broth, collagen, things to still try and keep some ability of strength, right? And N-acetylglucosamine for inflammation of the trachea is really good too. And obviously she's probably not using a collar, I would imagine. Even coats, like I've seen little guys, like little tiny dogs like Chihuahuas and stuff, they always have jackets on, or they always have shirts on, or even t-shirts. Just watch where they are, because sometimes they can get so sensitive that even if they're just a tad up, it's just a constant irritation, right? There's just constant irritation there. So I would be careful with that as well. But and diet, right?
Is there any building back, or is there just maintenance?
Well, there's two things that happen. It gets weak, right? So it starts to collapse. But then when it starts to collapse, it gets there. It's not moving. It can get phlegmy. It can get dry. It can get irritated, and then it creates more of an issue, right? So homeopathic arnica, phosphorus, and even their jump for joints is really good for trachea stuff, because it focuses on cartilage and ligament and tendon and all that stuff, right? It's not for joints per se. So there's lots of things you can do for trachea stuff to try and keep them from getting worse. And it's amazing, like what you were saying, like if you can keep the inflammation down and you can keep it as smooth as possible, you can sort of derail it from getting worse and worse and worse, right?
Okay. Donna, hi Donna, asks, will olive leaf and black walnut tincture work as a parasite preventative?
I'd be really careful with black walnut. So I wouldn't, I'm not really into the parasite preventative very much, because a lot of the anti-parasitic herbs are really hard on the body. So I'm more of, if your dog has a parasite, to deal with the parasite versus to giving something every day to keep them from getting parasites. Olive leaf would be a better choice there because it's not hard on the body, but you can do some damage with black walnut if you don't know what you're doing. And if you overdo it, and it's not something you want to give long-term whatsoever. The alkaloids in black walnut can really, really be at a detriment to the liver. So I just wouldn't do that. And along with wormwood and artemisia, I just would not do that. I would definitely treat the parasite once your dog has the parasite. That's not that difficult at all. But doing a like a wormer just because, I don't recommend that at all.
I don't either.
Pumpkin seeds are great. Pumpkin seeds are great. That's a nice anti-parasitic. Actually, pumpkin puree, pumpkin seeds, chamomile. Chamomile is a nice dewormer that it makes the body inhospitable to like lots of worms. A lot of people don't understand that chamomile is just like, it's kind of like that. It is that granny herb, Julianne, that, granny's going to take you by the ear when you're being a dork, and she's going to slap you upside the head and tell you to knock it off. And that's what grannies do. But don't underestimate the sweetness of chamomile. Like chamomile is a very gentle herb, but it's also very powerful herb. And, pumpkin is like that as well. Chamomiles are very good. If you want to do a parasitic preventative, I would, give pumpkin seeds maybe 3-4 times a week, ground pumpkin seeds, and also just give chamomile tea. It makes worms don't like it. They don't like it. It makes the environment more inhospitable to worms than it would be without it. So, and you cannot hurt your dog with chamomile tea.
And what you just said, I mean, that's the whole thing about the environment, right? Like a certain amount of parasites is not a bad thing, right? We don't want to eradicate every single parasite on the planet.
And some parasites have a very symbiotic relationship to the body, and and there's some really cool studies, which I'm sure you know about, Julianne, about parasites and how when you remove that parasite, your dog gets cancer, or a human gets cancer. There's this really, we've been living with parasites for a millennia. I mean, people have been putting the soil in their mouths, and they, the big ones that come out your other end, like I had roundworms when I was a kid. That was no fun. Yeah, you want something to get rid of roundworms and tapeworm, but there are lots of parasitic organisms that live in your body and your dog's body that actually help keep them healthy. And for you to give a dewormer all the time, I think is at a detriment to your dog.
It is. It's like with horses too. Like they have them on daily wormers and things like that. It's crazy. But I think the best way is to keep the gut environment healthy with as many diverse probiotic species and strains, right? Like all different things. The more the merrier. And really good food. Like parasites are parasites, right? That's what they are. They're opportunists. So in a healthy animal, the parasite load should be balanced. They shouldn't be completely void of all parasites, and they shouldn't be overrun by parasites.
And when they are overrun with parasites, you'll know. I mean, the skin and coat's going to suffer. You might see something in the stool. Then we need to get rid of those particular worms or parasites. But one thing I do want to add is calendula. One of the things I really love about it internally for dogs that are not hot. No hot calendula with hot dogs, but for dogs that are slightly warm to cool, it's a lovely bacteriostatic. And what that means is that it goes into the gut and it normalizes the gut flora, and it normalizes the terrain that the gut flora is feeding on, so that harmful bacteria cannot have a party. Okay? It's not an antibacterial at all. And because antibacterials they're not good. So even natural antibacterials, you want to deal with the terrain first. You want to build a healthy gut. And I know, Julianne, you're all about this, Calendula is a really great bacteriostatic that allows negative bacteria. They have to stay apart. It's social distancing for negative bacteria in the gut. That's what calendula is. Calendula is social distancing, and it's absolutely wonderful that way. And and it can also be, the resin in calendula can also be a really great prebiotic. So just wanted to tell you.
I was going to say that it can work as a really awesome prebiotic.
Yeah, we need a t-shirt. Calendula, social distancing for the gut.
Perfect.
The social distancing herb.
Such a nerd. I am such a nerd. Okay.
This could be like a really big, long question, but Carrie asked, Rita, can you speak to using garlic for dogs and for yeast, etc.?
Okay, so I'm not going to make this long and drawn out. So on my Canine Herbalist website, there is a guide to using garlic for your dog. canineherbalist.com. It's in the blog section. Just put in garlic. It'll come up. It's got a great visual of how much to give. Here's my thing with garlic. Nothing wrong with garlic as long as you use it correctly. Do not use it for warm dogs. Okay, dogs that have a hard time regulating their body temperature, dogs that are warm, dogs that are overweight. Most dogs that are overweight are more on the hot side. Sometimes it's false heat, which I'm not going to get into, but sometimes it's not. But usually, even with false heat, you're going to have more of a thin exterior, a thin body makeup. But you want to make sure your dog's not, like if your dog starts to pant more when you put him on garlic, it's not going well. My thing is use fresh, organic, freshly chopped garlic within 30 minutes on the food, proper amounts. Also, there are some supplements out there. I actually use one for my pugs. I live on the salt water and there's terrible fleas in my yard. And they actually work very well for fleas in my yard, not necessarily in everyone's yard. And that has a little granulated garlic, organic granulated garlic in it, the supplement that I use. But I only use that during the summer months, and both of my pugs are cool. So they're very cool. They're always want to sleep under the blankies. They always want warmth on them all the time. You'll see them sitting in the sun sweating. They love heat. So garlic is very warming, and garlic's very anti-parasitic. It's antibiotic, and remember that. So you don't want to give a ton of it. It's very good. It's very good for most cool dogs. It helps warm from the core, which is very important to warm from the core, but so does calendula. Calendula warms from the core. But you want to use organic, freshly cut garlic, and there's a lovely little garlic thing on my website that you can go and learn everything you need to know about garlic and how much to use.
They just put it in the chat, so everyone will have it.
That way I don't have to go through it. And it's a visual. You can download it without giving me your email.
And I know one of the things you taught me about garlic, Rita, was do not feed it right away. And there's a reason. You have to let it sit before you feed it.
Yeah. That's why it potenizes when you let it sit. The allicin in it needs to breathe a little bit.
Like wine.
Yes, like wine.
Yeah.
Red wine. We are at 8:00, but would you have time? Do a couple more. Everybody's good with a couple more?
I'm good.
All right. Sorry, my dogs are psycho tonight. There was a really great one here that I was looking at. Sorry, now I lost it. Oh, Rita, what are your thoughts on full spectrum CBD oil for relieving allergy symptoms? That is from Donna.
For relieving allergy symptoms, I guess CBD could be used for relieving allergy symptoms. I might mix it with nettles, just because it turns on the ecocannabinoid system, or the endocannabinoid system, which is going to help bring down histamine in the body. I mean, I would use it for a lot of other things besides allergies, but if your dog is responding to it for allergies, then I would say go ahead and do it. It's not something I recommend for allergies on a normal basis, but I think blackcurrant Gemmotherapy works really well for allergies. It's really antihistamine. So are nettles, quercetin, those things in the body. But yeah, I don't recommend CBD for allergies, but I'm sure if anything that turns on the endocannabinoid system is going to help with the histamine response. But like the endocannabinoid system can be turned on with just organic hemp seed oil as well, being that CBD is really expensive. So I'd probably use it for, you know, for other things as well in the body.
I think
Not
the only
allergies.
thing I think that I've recommended it for allergies is when they're, and you know how you were saying like you have to work in the body before the ears are gonna get better.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're so flippin' itchy,
Mm-hmm.
they're going mental, and sometimes
to calm that nervous system down.
calm the nervous system down with CBD, so long as it's full spectrum, so that they're not so like their cortisol levels not so crazy, and that it just slows down their adrenaline and just just.
Well, that part absolutely for the neuroses that follows really bad.
From that.
Yeah. Great question.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes. Sorry. What is this one? It is. Oh, I'm sorry. That's about our anti-vaccinosis. There was one here. I was just trying to find it. It was up near the front. It was about. Oh, Carrie. Are there any herbs and or mushrooms that will increase urination or urinary leakage? I recently started my Hannah, a spayed 6-year-old Vizula. Sorry, Libby. Stop, honey. Thank you. On Solaris from Dr. Harvey's, and I noticed that she's been leaking a bunch and wanting to go out to the potty frequently.
Let me look at Solaris. So Dr. Harvey, nice dude. Dr. Harvey uses a lot of herbs in his formulas. But let me look at Solaris here. Okay, here we go. So, is that the ingredients? Oh, wait, hold on. I'm just making sure I'm looking at the right one. Okay, Solaris. Okay, so we've got organic burdock root. That's not going to do it. Pine bark is not going to affect that. Cordyceps, milk thistle, burdock root, red clover, dandelion roots, and chlorella, nutritional yeast, and propolis. So it's probably the red clover and the cordyceps. So it's probably the red clover and the cordyceps that is probably having the issue. If it is the Solaris, all you would have to do is stop. It says something about sunrise and sunset. Is that part of the Solaris? Is it like a 2-part? Oh, it looks like it's a 2-part thing. So hold on. Let's see. The sunrise formula, just looking at it, it's mushrooms. And the evening formula, red clover and the cordyceps. So I would say that it's the red clover or the cordyceps that's probably causing the issue. And maybe the sheep sorrel as well. Sorry, I just was looking that up. But I'm not sure why you're giving that formula, but it's a lot to take in. It's a very detailed formula. It's a very highly nutritional formula for sure. I don't know if the mushrooms are activated or not. It might be just nutritional mushrooms, not, there's a big difference between nutritional mushrooms and medicinal mushrooms. So mushrooms have to be activated. They need most of them need hot water extraction because of they have a chitin cell structure, and it needs to be broken down. So a lot of times you'll do ground mushrooms there's lots of nutritional value, but they're not medicinal value. So it didn't say that they were hot water extracted, but some of those mushrooms can have an action on the kidney, and they're all going to be processed by the kidney because they're water soluble instead of the liver. So that's going to activate the kidney as well. So I would just go off the formula, see if the kidney balances out, and then you can go back on it and see if the leakage happens again. So it just may not be working for your dog. Doesn't mean that the formula is anything's wrong with the formula. It's just not working for your dog. But there are many, many herbs. Anything diuretic in nature, it can cause your dog to leak.
Okay. There was one here, from anonymous attendee. My dog has a bald spot on the top of his head and the tips of inside of his ears. They're red, bumpy, and scaling. Is there an herb that can help with that?
Well, I would need to know a lot more about that dog. However, with the bald patch, I would definitely just start fortifying the dog. So nettles, digestive enzymes, probiotics, good food, yellow dock root in, like, I don't know how big the dog is, but if it was a small dog, 1 drop, medium dog, 2 drops, large dog, 3 drops, twice daily, mixed with dandelion root. 2 drops for a small dog, medium dog, probably 4 to 5 drops, large dog, 6 to 7 drops, and like 8 drops for a larger dog. Mix those 2 together. They have a really good way to help hair grow back. Salvation salve from Farm Dog Naturals will help grow hair back pretty well, but it depends on why the hair's gone. And then the little bumps in the ears, I mean, I wouldn't know. You could do a calendula salve for that and see if it helps. I'm not sure, because there's lots of missing information there. But it's probably nutritional.
Yeah, nutritional or hormonal.
Yeah,
And
which can also be nutritional.
And I was just going to say, which is the hormonal.
Yeah.
Down to nutritional. Yeah.
But lots of missing information on that one.
Kim has a question here, which I don't think we've really gotten to. And I have this problem with my pug too. Help for acid reflux. My dog runs hot, also has had 2 mild pancreatic attacks. Working on the diet with no luck so far in regards to the acid reflux.
Okay, so acid reflux is heat in the liver. And I would do marshmallow root, the liquid tincture before eating, and the herb before bed. I would probably also supplement with Julianne's formula with the marshmallow root and the glucan. What is it?
Glucosamine, the gut soothe.
The gut soothe would be a good one, plus extra marshmallow root. It's not going to end it like right overnight, but it will help get rid of the acid reflux for sure. And then I would work on getting that heat out of the liver. I might try the peach leaf. It's just my go-to, and make sure that you get them on some cleavers, the liquid cleavers, just a little bit. All of this is, this is a chronic problem, so very small amounts. And you can always tag me on Facebook or send me an email, and I can tell you how much amounts, because I have no idea how big the dog is.
And sometimes, I don't know whether it's on raw or not, but if it's had pancreatic issues, I've noticed that, especially with acid reflux too, you could be looking at like small intestinal overgrowth, like SIBO. And but I've had to get people to cook their animals' food for a while, treat them, work on their gut, use herbs, do whatever, and then slowly cook their food less and less and put them back on raw. Sometimes I don't even know what happens. It's sort of like a shift in the acidity when they're really acute, and they have to be adjusted back onto it gradually. So that if they haven't been able to find a solution for that often helps. And then feeding them before bed, sometimes for a little. Pardon?
A little snacky before bed.
Before bed, a small amount of their meal before they go to bed, and then they could put the marshmallow root or the gut soothe on so that it's sitting in there overnight. Yeah, that is helpful too.
Great idea. Do we have time for one more quick one from 655-642? This person asks, are there any natural remedies to help calm an anxious dog? Like if they're afraid of noises, for example.
Well, I work on a lot of afraid of noises cases, and that is always kidney, kidney, kidney. So support the kidney. Skull cap would be my first go-to because of the whole rabies vaccine. I would definitely do like 8 to 12 weeks of skull cap, liquid tincture, 1 drop for an extra small dog, 2 drops for a small dog, 3 drops for a medium dog, 4 drops for a large dog, and 5 drops for an extra large dog twice daily before eating. 12 weeks. And then I'd stop that. There's lots of, the nervous system, there's always a nervous system component to any type of disease. As an herbalist, I don't treat disease, but I just balance out the systems of the body. So I always think of in systems of the body, and fear really is based in kidney energy. And so I always work on the kidney and the fear goes away. So I like gravel root and goldenrod a lot. I'd say gravel root I usually don't use more than 8 weeks, but it just depends on the dog for the kidney. Nettles is a good place to start. That nettles is really safe. Nettle, if there's a extreme fear of noise, I start off with nettle seed, and very small, again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 being extra large dog.
Sorry, Rita, you cut out there a little bit at the beginning.
What did I say?
All we got was 3, 4, 5.
Oh, nettle seed. If there's extreme fear, I start off with nettle seed. And it's much more powerful than the leaf as far as for the kidney. And can you hear me? No?
It just cut out again, but it was good. Yes.
Nettle seed, better for the kidney if there's extreme fear.
I can hear you. Kellen, I can hear.
Oh, okay. And I was saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, meaning 1 for an extra small dog, 5 for like a Great Dane, twice daily before eating. But yeah, I always work with the kidney for fear, and then flower essences as well. And an easy way to start off with is the rescue remedy. But there's always a nervous system component to any type of imbalance in the body. People forget about the nervous system, just like they forget about the gut.
Would you use CBD in that case at all?
Yeah, you can use CBD. Sure, you can definitely use CBD. You can use CBD for sure. I don't necessarily use CBD for like extreme fear cases. I don't find it that effective. It's more kind of sedating to the nervous system.
Right.
Where I'm trying to look to balance that nervous system out.
I think that's amazing. I never knew what you just said.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's awesome. Mm-hmm.
Are we doing more questions or?
Well, we've lost our chat commentator. She had to go. But if you have time to do one more.
I have time to do one more.
Yeah, perfect.
I've got like 5 minutes I can do. Go ahead.
Okay. There was one, oh my goodness, sorry. And I'm not being very responsible with my chat here. Okay, what are Rita's recommendations for safe herbal options that can be used as mosquito repellents?
Oh.
Sorry.
Wow. Well, I'm just going to go with this one. Before I mentioned the cedars of Lebanon Gemmotherapy. You can mix that 10 drops of cedars of Lebanon to 8 ounces of water, again with crabapple, and spray. It's a great mosquito repellent.
That's cool. I'm going to try that on my horses.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that one. And, if you Google, flea and tick repellents, Rita Hogan, you can find some articles I've written on that, but I don't want to get into essential oils at all, so.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Rita. We have a ton more questions. We could be here another hour.
Okay.
But we all have things to do and places to go. So my
Yeah,
psycho dogs need a walk.
You know, about your courses and just tell me what you're gonna. Can you just tell everybody what you're gonna do with? You said you're gonna publish that thing. When's that gonna happen?
Oh, I'm working on a book, an introduction to canine herbalism book that should be out next year, and my part 1 of my monograph book, and it will be 50 herbs that I use most in my practice and how to like specifically use them with detailed instructions and different types of parts, systems in the body, and how to use them with detailed instructions and energetics as well. And then I will have a level 1 canine herbalism course coming out probably by the end of the year. And then that will be followed with a level 2 and a level 3 over the next 3 years. They're going to be amazing courses to help people with rescue or people that want to practice or things like that. And then eventually within the next 5 years, I'll have a practitioner's course coming out.
That's awesome. And they can find all that on your website, right?
Well, there's not much about anything I just said on my website right now.
Okay, well, so. But they can look for it. Like
they can look for it. They can look for it.
And I'll have you back on too, so you can let us kind of give us countdowns and stuff.
You can follow me on Facebook, Canine Herbalist. It's a private group.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Facebook, and I have a business page, but the private group gets more of my attention.
And what is the best way for somebody to get a hold of you, Rita?
canineherbalist@gmail.com, and through my website, I do consults all over the world.
Yes, it was.
Okay.
It was in the chat, so that's good.
Yeah.
All right, everybody.
There it is. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Rita. That was awesome. So much information. And everybody, the recording will be on our YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube and search The Adored Beast Apothecary, and you will find us up there tomorrow.
And everyone that's in love with Rita, like we all are, keep an eye on Adored Beast Facebook, because we're going to be doing a big, super cool event June the 19th. I'm not going to say much about it because it's going to be all special, but Rita's going to be with us, so that's going to be really awesome, and it's free of charge, and it's going to be really great. So we'll be back together soon too with a bunch of us.
Yeah, and Kaylin, I just want to say that if anyone has a question for me that's more detailed, you can use I have a function on my website called Ask the Herbalist, and you can go through there and ask me questions.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, thank you so much, everybody.
So much. Thank you for coming, Rita.
Thanks, Julianne. Thanks, Kaylin.
Bye. We'll talk to you soon. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye, everyone.
You're crazy.